Have you ever wondered if the decisions you make in the first few months after losing a spouse could affect your future happiness and well-being? It's a heartbreaking and overwhelming time, and emotions can cloud our judgment, leading us to make choices we might later regret. But what if I told you that by avoiding just a few common mistakes you can protect your emotional, financial, and physical well-being during this incredibly difficult time? In this video, I'm going to walk you through 5 crucial things you should say no to after losing a spouse. These are mistakes that many people unknowingly make, thinking they're doing what's best, only to realize later that they weren't. Truly rare ID for such major decisions. I'm sharing real-life stories, expert advice, and insights. They can help you navigate this chapter of your life with clarity, dignity, and the support you deserve. By watching until the end, you'll learn how to avoid the pitfalls that can make grief even harder. Whether it's rushing into financial decisions, isolating yourself, or jumping into a new relationship too soon, this isn't just about avoiding mistakes. It's about making sure you move forward with the wisdom and peace of mind that can help you heal. Stay with me, because these insights are designed to give you the tools to protect your heart, your health, and your future. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. Number 1. Making big financial decisions too soon. Losing a spouse is one of the most heart-wrenching experiences anyone can go through. The depth of the pain, the overwhelming sense of emptiness, and the burden of facing a future alone. It's a lot to bear, and in those raw emotional moments, it can feel like everything around you is spinning out of control. What do you do when the world as you know it shatters? In many cases, the urge to take action is powerful. Suddenly, you're left with decisions that may seem urgent, like managing bank accounts, figuring out insurance policies, deciding what to do with investments, and perhaps most daunting of all, determining whether to keep or sell your home. It's no wonder that so many people in the wake of loss feel compelled to rush into these major financial decisions. But this rush is a trap. Grief has a way of clouding a judgment, and decisions made during such a vulnerable time often come with consequences that leave us regretting them later on. It's so easy to believe that jumping into action will bring some sense of control, as if making a choice will offer some kind of relief from the emotional chaos. But the truth is, these quick decisions fueled by raw emotion can often lead to regret. The grief you're experiencing can obscure your thinking, making it hard to see the full picture of what's best for your future. While it might seem like the logical thing to do at the moment, emotional decisions made during such a vulnerable time often turn out to be the ones you wish you hadn't made. In the throes of grief, everything can feel overwhelming, and the thought of making any decision at all can seem like the only way to feel like you're doing something. But taking a breath, slowing down, and allowing yourself the time to heal and process your emotions is crucial. I've seen so many widows and widowers overwhelmed with grief who rushed into major life changes, from selling the family home to making hasty financial investments, only to find themselves emotionally and financially strained down the road. Well-meaning friends and even financial advisors may unintentionally pressure you into making these decisions. People might suggest that selling your house and downsizing is a way to move forward, a fresh start, as if that will somehow ease the pain. But the reality is that these decisions need time. You need time to grieve, to reflect, and to process everything before doing something that could change your life forever. Take the example of 74-year-old Margaret. After losing her beloved husband, she was bombarded by advice from friends, family, and even financial professionals, all telling her that downsizing was the right move. The idea made sense in theory, less to maintain lower expenses and the promise of a fresh start in a new town. So amid her sorrow, she sold the home they had shared for 40 years and moved into a smaller apartment. But once the initial shock of her last war-off reality set in, she felt a deep sense of loss, not only for her husband, but for the home that had been a constant source of comfort for her, the familiar sights, the neighborhood. She knew so well the warmth of the life she and her husband had built together. All of it was gone, and what was left was an overwhelming sense of regret in her heart. Margaret wished she had waited. She wished she had given herself more time to reflect, to let the emotional dust settle before making a decision that in hindsight it felt rushed and disconnected from her true needs. But the challenges don't end there. Grief makes you vulnerable, and there are always individuals who unfortunately take advantage of that vulnerability. Financial predators, people who see an opportunity to profit from your pain, are often lurking, ready to pounce. They offer unsolicited investment opportunities or use high-pressure sales tactics to get you to make decisions quickly. It's incredibly difficult to be on guard when you're grieving, but you must be. Don't let anyone pressure you into making financial moves when you're not fully clear-headed, whether it's signing papers, making large withdrawals, or investing in something you don't fully understand how. Of course, trust your gut and take a step back. The best decisions are rarely the ones made when you're in an emotional fog. Take your time, do your research, and seek the guidance of professionals who have your best interests at heart. Then there's the temptation to give away assets or money to loved ones as spare. Actually, when you're struggling with loss, there's a deep emotional pull to give to help children, grandchildren, or friends who might also be affected by your spouse's passing. It's natural to want to support them in any way you can, but generosity, when not carefully considered, can lead to long-term difficulties. For you, giving away money or assets prematurely may feel good at the moment, but what happens later when you realize you don't have enough to cover your own needs? It's a heartbreaking position to be in, and it's something that's unfortunately all too common. Take the time to think through these decisions. Don't let grief push you into giving away more than you can afford, especially when the future feels so uncertain. The best course of action during this time of immense emotional upheaval is to seek professional advice from a trusted financial planner, someone who understands your situation and your emotional state and can help guide you through the financial minefield. This is not a time for risky moves or drastic changes. It's a time to stabilize your life emotionally and financially. Experts often recommend waiting a full year before making any major financial decisions, and I couldn't agree more. This year should be about finding your footing again, not about making life-altering financial decisions. It's a year to give yourself space to grieve and think clearly about what's best for your future. Losing a spouse is one of the most difficult transitions anyone can face, and adding financial stress to that can only make things harder. There's no need to rush. Take your time, seek guidance, and when you're ready to make a decision, let it be one made from a place of clarity, not from the fog of grief. Trust yourself, trust your heart, and know that the best to see genes come when you take the time to truly reflect and consider what's best for you in the long run. Number 2. Isolating yourself from friends and family. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me after the devastating loss of a spouse. It's only natural to feel the overwhelming desire to be alone. Grief, in its rawest form, is incredibly personal, and the aching pain can often make you feel as though the only solace comes from solitude. In those early days, shutting yourself off from the world may feel like the only way to navigate the crushing sorrow that weighs on your heart. But here's the painful truth. While taking moments for yourself is essential, completely cutting yourself off from the people who love and care about you can lead to a deeper, more paralyzing loneliness, one that makes the healing process feel even more impossible. I understand the need for space, I do, but isolation isn't a cure, it's a trap. And it's one that can easily swallow you whole if you're not careful. It's all too easy to convince yourself that you need more time to heal, to tell yourself that you can't be around others because they wouldn't understand your pain. But that mindset, though it may seem comforting, at first quickly becomes a dangerous pattern, one that leaves you feeling more disconnected and isolated than ever before. Human connection is more important than you might realize, especially when you're grieving. When we distance ourselves for too long, it's not just our emotions that suffer, our physical health can take a hit as well. It shows that prolonged social isolation can lead to a weakened immune system, increased blood pressure, and even a shorter lifespan. You may not feel it right away, but slowly that loneliness will chip away at you, at your heart and your spirit, at your body, and that's not something I want for you. Not when the antidote is so much simpler than it feels in the moment. Staying connected, even in the smallest ways, can make a world of difference. You don't have to dive into social events or force yourself to be the life of the party. Just making an effort, whether it's picking up the phone for a quick chat, meeting up for a short walk, or attending a support group, can provide a sense of connection that helps ease the crushing weight of sadness. Take Walter, for instance, a 78-year-old man who lost his wife of 52 years. His grief consumed him, and he thought that the best way to handle it was to retreat completely. He stopped answering phone calls. He skipped family gatherings. He stayed holed up in his home, convinced that no one could possibly understand the pain he was going through. He kept telling himself, "It's easier this way, I don't need anyone." But as the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, Walter's isolation didn't heal him. It made him feel even worse. His days began to blur together, and with that his energy drained away. He couldn't find the motivation to eat or do anything at all. And yet it wasn't until a kind neighbor reached out and insisted on sharing a cup of coffee that things began to shift. That small, seemingly insignificant act of kindness, just sitting and talking even for a short while, started a ripple of change. It turned into a weekly tradition. Slowly Walter began to open up again. Bit by bit, he started meeting friends, reconnecting with his family, and most importantly, he realized he wasn't carrying the weight of grief alone anymore. The pain didn't disappear, but his burden was lighter, and that's what I want for you too. It's not about erasing the pain. It's about realizing that you don't have to suffer alone. It's important to remember, though, that you don't need to rush back into socializing before you're ready. Healing is a personal journey, and everyone moves at their own pace. But don't let your grief convince you that pushing everyone away is the best way to cope. If you don't feel like talking, that's okay. But even just being around people, listening to their conversations, or sharing a quiet moment together can offer comfort you might not even expect. Trust me, those small acts of connection are powerful. They remind you that life continues, that the world doesn't stop turning just because you're in pain. And most importantly, they remind you that support is available even if it doesn't always come in the way you imagined. Another common mistake many grieving people make is pushing away the very people who care for them the most. It's understandable. Grief can make us irritable, exhausted, and at times we feel like no one truly understands what we're going through. But isolating ourselves from those who genuinely want to help can be incredibly damaging. Your loved ones may not have the right words, and they might not be able to fully grasp the depth of your pain, but their mere presence can be a balm for your wounded heart. Don't let pride or the belief that they wouldn't understand keep you from letting them in. Even if you don't have the energy to speak, just having them nearby can make a world of difference, and eventually, when you're ready, the conversation will come. It's important to allow them to be a part of your healing journey, even if only in the smallest ways. It can also be incredibly healing to connect with others who have experienced similar losses, whether through a grief support group, a community event, or even an online forum. Talking with others who truly understand what you're going through can be one of the most comforting and validating experiences. Grief is unique to each individual, but it's also something that can access. Sharing your story, hearing theirs, and knowing you're not alone in your feelings can be a powerful reminder that you are indeed stronger than you realize. You're not alone in this, and some people want to walk with you. Grief doesn't follow a set timeline, and there's no right way to heal. It's a process, a deeply personal and sometimes messy journey, but isolation only makes the journey longer and harder. It might feel easier at first to shut the world out, but in doing so you risk trapping yourself in a cycle of sorrow. It's harder to break, so take it slow. Take small steps to reconnect with others at your own pace, whether it's a phone call, a coffee with a friend, or just sitting in the presence of someone who cares. These little acts of connection can help you find strength and support in the most unexpected places. And remember, you don't have to do it alone. Some people love you who want to be there for you and who will help you find your way back to peace, one step at a time. Number 3, ignoring your health and well-being when the love of your life passes away. Deep, overwhelming grief can consume your every thought and action. The world feels heavy, as though the weight of the last drapes over your shoulders and fills every moment with sadness. In these painful moments, it's all too easy to neglect yourself. You start putting off those doctor's appointments, skipping meals, and letting your daily routine unravel because the grief takes up so much space in your heart and mind. But let me say this: if you're feeling guilty about taking care of yourself, as if prioritizing your health somehow diminishes your love or the depth of your sorrow, I urge you to rethink that law. Loving and honoring your loss both doesn't require you to suffer in silence or sacrifice your well-being. It's in caring for yourself that you truly honor the memory of the one you lost. The harsh truth is that neglecting your health doesn't bring you any closer to the person you've lost. Instead, it makes the path forward even more difficult. And that's something that's often overlooked in the haze of grief: the toll it takes on your body. Studies have shown that the loss of a spouse increases the risk of heart problems, weakens your immune system, and even can contribute to cognitive decline. The stress and pain from grief can lead to a range of physical issues, from high blood pressure to sleepless nights to a fluctuating appetite. Some people lose interest in food altogether, while others seek out comfort foods that are unhealthy, and over time these changes, though they may feel like a temporary response, can become permanent habits, slowly chipping away at your health and well-being. This is where the power of small choices comes into play. You don't have to snap back to normal overnight. No one expects you to feel okay so soon, but starting with small loving acts of self-care can make all the difference in how you cope with the heartache. Let me tell you the story of 81-year-old James. After his beloved wife passed away, he found himself no longer cooking for himself. He convinced himself that he wasn't hungry, and when he did eat, it was usually something quick, processed, or pre-packaged. Over the next few months, James started feeling weaker, more exhausted, and restless at night. He felt disconnected from life itself, like a shadow of who he had been. His daughter, noticing the changes, gently encouraged him to start eating regular, nutritious meals again, even if his appetite wasn't there, and so he did. Slowly but surely he began to take better care of himself. He drank more water and prepared simple, healthy meals, and as a result he noticed a shift. His energy improved, his mood stabilized, and he found himself with a little more strength to face the emotional waves of grief. That's the power of taking small steps to nourish your body, even when your heart feels broken. Self-care is about more than just food, though. It's about movement, sleep, and emotional well-being. To grief often leads people to stop exercising, but it's not because they no longer want to be active. It's because they don't have that familiar partner beside them anymore, the person who used to share those daily walks or workouts. But staying physically active, even if it's just a short walk around the block, is incredibly important. Exercise helps reduce stress, improves your mood, and can even add years to your life. So sometimes all it takes is a small commitment to movement, and you'll see how it can shift your mental and emotional state. If you're feeling alone, perhaps joining a walking group or exercise class could be just what you need to combine physical health with social connection, something we all need. especially during such a lonely time. Another mistake many people make is neglecting their medical checkups after the death of a spouse. It's common to feel emotionally overwhelmed, and the idea of going to the doctor may seem like just another task that's too much to handle. But this is precisely the time when your health matters most. Delaying routine visits or ignoring medical issues can leave you vulnerable to conditions that could be prevented or treated early. If it's been a while since you've seen your doctor, make an appointment now. Keeping on top of your health, managing existing conditions, and staying consistent with medications is vital for not just surviving, but thriving in the face of grief. Body and mind need you, and caring for them ensures that you're able to keep living and find joy again. But physical health isn't the only thing that needs attention. Your mental health is just as important. Grief can spiral into depression, anxiety, and sometimes feelings of hopelessness, particularly if you isolate yourself. And I want to tell you this now: if you're struggling, please don't keep it to yourself. Seek help. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of wisdom. Speaking to a counselor, joining a grief support group, or even just confiding in a trusted friend can make such a difference. You may be surprised by how much relief you find in simply sharing your heart. You don't have to go through this alone. You deserve support. And let me remind you of this: your spouse, the one you love so dearly, would never want you to neglect your well-being. They would want you to heal, to find peace, to live fully in honor of their memory.